All right. Wow. Okay, I missed some of that game, but okay. Trying to follow all the players. Okay, so this is board 1 against board 4. So Berkeley has a FIDE Master on their 4th board that is actually higher rated than our FIDE Master or UCLA's FIDE Master on their top board. So this is going to be quite the show. Uh, Hi, Kevin. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, UC Berkeley, one of the strongest teams in the league. Definitely going to try to beat UCLA here. UCLA yet to lose a match. They've won their previous 2. This is week 3. So Berkeley's got their work cut out ahead of them, but they're definitely up for the task. This is Julian's second time competing this season, but he is a seasoned veteran and fellow streamer. He played last year on this UCLA team, so he is used to this. The Berkeley team, most of them are newer players to the league, but they're very skilled chess players, as you can see. So this is Julian against their board 4. This is Kyle Webster against Berkeley's top board, Josiah. So no, this is Joshua. My bad. But Kyle Webster actually is a veteran as well. He played last year, but not for UCLA, for the University of Michigan. So he is now a PhD student at UCLA. And another interesting fact, Julian Landau is a former UC Berkeley student. So he is up against his old school. He has changed alliances. And we'll see if he can beat Berkeley up. He played against Caltech last time he played, and he's actually a dual student at UCLA and Caltech. So it's possible that he could have chosen to play for Caltech, but his allegiance is to UCLA. And the UCLA team is definitely happy to have him. He is their best player this week. So we'll see how he does. Here we have other Gabe. So this is National Master Gabe, our second board for UCLA, up against Alex Bien from Cal, another FIDE Master that they have. All right, and we have the 4th board here as well. Now, this is Josiah. This is one of Berkeley's leaders. He helps coordinate the matches for Berkeley. He is an international master. He recently got the title. And Hiron here from UCLA is a candidate master. So a lot of titled players in this matchup. I think the only player that isn't titled is Kyle Webster from Michigan. Yeah. Okay, so let's stick with Julian's game here to start us off. Black has this isolated pawn, potential long-term weakness, blocking this bishop a little bit. But other than that, even material, even on the board, it seems White has these nice bishops pointing directly at the king side. These are a bit better than their counterparts here, in my opinion. But Julian's trying to open this up. He's trying to take here. He's also opening up the c file, offering a rook trade. And eventually the plan will be to try and push this pawn to d4. So right now we could take here and win a pawn. So if white were to take, I guess queen takes, because you don't want to allow bishop takes, pawn takes, and be left with double isolated pawns. So the knight is instead put on e5. I wonder if you could play d4 now. That, or you just take on f4. Pawn takes. But yeah, this knight controlled or defended by the bishop, rather. Julian instead going for the move b4. This is positionally clamping down on these two pawns by white. So he's taking a step to play b4. Make sure he's taking that space on the queen side. He doesn't want to trade anything in the center just yet. All right, queen in now. She's looking at some of these light squares lined up with this bishop. Pawn here at some point. Okay, rook here, or not rook here, but knight here at some point could be a possibility. But look at these knights all controlling light squares, along with the queen and the bishop. So if you see g6, black could get sacked on. We could see like a knight sacrifice. That also opens up the bishop. So Julian must be considering taking at least one of these knights. But yeah, if the position opens up in the center, these bishops will become beasts on the board, just staring down at black's king side. So I'm anticipating this move. Ooh, f6. So f6, you could maybe, like, again, you don't need g6 to be played to sacrifice the knights. You could just put a knight on g6, like right now. So the knight goes back to d3. And again, g6, you might see the knight sacrifice, but after f6, it's actually a little bit safer because you can block with these pieces. So g6 has been played now. So Julian slowly but surely flushing the pieces out of his king side, saying, get back, get out of here. The queen, though, doesn't want to listen. She steps forward, and now this pawn is pinned. Well, not really. Again, black has some defense, but knight takes, queen takes will distract both defenders of the g7 square. So Julian plugs a piece on this diagonal, going right on c3, supported by this b4 pawn push from earlier, as well as the rook. He's also attacking this light squared bishop. So Julian's playing pretty well. He's threatening to take the knight, and if knight takes, then take the other knight, and then pawn takes, knight check here would win the exchange. So the rook comes over to defend e2. Rook steps up, offering more support laterally. If the bishop takes here, I don't know how you would take back. Okay, Joshua has taken down Kyle Webster. The board 1 beating the board 4. So this is UCLA's board 1, 2,500, against Berkeley's board 4, 2,550. This match that just ended in checkmate. Oh, rook takes here as a checkmate. That is pretty nasty. This is 2,100 versus 2,770. So about 600 rating point difference from our UCLA's board 4 and Berkeley's board 1, but their board 4 is 50 rating points higher than our board 1. So, okay, knight hitting the queen and also attacking the bishop. So Julian's knights are making progress. Yeah, taking that bishop off the board. Knight takes, rook takes. So this does open up this dark squared bishop. Okay, rook now on the second. Both players under 30 seconds. So some time scramble will ensue. Bishop comes up. We might see this move, but the queen might centralize. So she steps over to g4. Bishop comes down anyways. Queen steps over. Going for the queen trade. Knight takes pawn here. What a move. The threat is to take here as well. Julian, can you take this actually? Wait, was that a free knight? What was wrong with that? Knight takes? Is that so bad? Probably. I don't know. Anyways, attacking the knight. Knight's doubled up here. You don't want to move the knight. Okay, so takes here. You win a pawn back. There's a check. King steps down. Julian controlling the open c file and is actually up in exchange. I must have missed that. This pawn is hit. Black trades off here. Going after this. King here. Got to save the bishop. So the bishop boxing out this knight. Bishop takes here, though. Defends the knight. But for how long? Yeah, 13 seconds. Julian should win this. This pawn's going to fall. These pawns are going to get rolling. This bishop's going to go here. That's a free pawn. Perhaps a desperado trying to get this knight out of its dungeon. So, giving up the pawn, but getting the activity. Much worth it. Finally taking on f6. You don't want to go here. You might go here. This could be a thing. Ooh, taking here. Just going to push through. Wow. Okay, giving this pawn up, but you're going to run this one. Less than 10 seconds now for both sides. You kind of have to take that. Okay, resignation. So Julian getting his first point of the day. We got other Gabe versus Alex being. So the board ones getting their first wins over the board fours. These players agreed to a draw here. So this position's really locked up. Let's look at this last board. Hiron resigning to Josiah. So Josiah gets a point, and Alex Bean and other Gabe with half points. So after the first round, Berkeley is up by 1. The top board's getting the job done for Berkeley, and Berkeley's board 3 getting a draw against UCLA's board 2. So yeah, here. All right, we got the the next game. Round 2 has started. Berkeley's board 3, who drew against UCLA's board 2, now playing Julian, the board 1. Okay, so Julian developing the knight to h3. Looking to castle kingside, I'm guessing. Yes, he does that immediately. So this rook is going to be on an open f file after this opens up. Perhaps even planning to play f5. Although that kind of looks like a pawn sacrifice at the time. But it would open up the g file. Black delaying castling kingside for now. Perhaps anticipating a kingside attack. So putting this knight right in the center. Typically what I like to do in this is try to trade off these knights and move my knight and play like c3 at some point. But I'm interested to know how Julian deals with this. So a3, maybe the knight wants to come here. I have no idea. Nothing's really threatening to land on b4. I don't know if you want to play b4. Probably b4 is a good move as white. You're trying to undermine the center, taking away some defense from the knight. So, black has played h6, perhaps preventing knight to g5. You don't want the knight and the rook converging on f7. So, Julian taking down the first FIDE master, now facing his second FIDE master opponent. So b4 was the plan from Julian. I wonder if you could just play b6, maintain it. Okay, queen opposite the king, only separated by the knight. We can see some nasty discoveries, the double checks. Fortunately for Julian, there's no good forks from the knight. So even though we're hitting the queen does not have to move if the knight gives discovered double check. But yes, the knight from these two squares doesn't really hit anything too hard other than this bishop or like this pawn. So the king will tuck away into the corner, and then there's no follow-up. So the queen has to step aside, putting some pressure on c2. Now would be a good time maybe to kick out the knight. So that pawn would be defended by the knight on a4. So knight kind of awkwardly placed for now, but served its purpose. Hit the queen off the diagonal, allowed the pawn to push up, kicking the knight out. And yeah, the knight's going to have to find a new home eventually. After a move like b5, you would have to go back to b2. And from there, you can go back to the center. Also, this c3 idea will help support d4 at some point. So definitely think this knight will go back to one of these two squares. Maybe even here, but you don't really want to block this bishop. And okay, going here, attacking c3. So now we can develop this bishop or the queen to defend this c3 pawn. You don't really want to push the knight out again because you're actually just creating that hole again on d4. Bishop could come here and try to plug this diagonal a little bit and potentially taking a piece out on d4 if need be, but you don't really want to push here. At least that's how I see it. Now pushing does allow the knight to come to c3, and that can be very useful. So pushing, you also have to keep in mind there might be a sacrifice of the knight because you can open up this diagonal against your rook. And actually defending this might be a little bit tricky because this pawn will be able to open up for black's bishop at any moment. So you have to keep that in mind. This bishop is defended by the knight, but the knight now doesn't have any retreating squares, but this knight is blocking the pawn from attacking the knight. So the knight is secure for now. I'm just anticipating this to open up at some point. Black also deciding, you know, where to put the king in the long run. Will they castle kingside? Or leave the king in the center. So, okay. A6, kind of slow, to be honest. Defending the knight, but not really sure if the knight was under threat. So Julian now having to decide, what does he want to do? Does he want to clarify this tension in the center? Does he want to kick the knight out? Hello, April. This is Berkeley versus UCLA, as I'm sure you're aware. But Berkeley has the second best team in the league, so they're definitely the favorite, as UCLA is not the first the best team in the league is Mizzou. And they play Princeton on Monday, I believe. So hopefully I can stream that. But we'll see. You're from Missouri? Well, me too. Where in Missouri are you from? Maybe I should focus more on the commentary. Kansas City? Okay, I'm from St. Louis. Sorry about the Chiefs, by the way. It's all good. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, Berkeley right now is up by 1 point, but it's only been one round. So still a lot of chess left to be played. I think that Berkeley is a favorite, though, by a decent amount. All right, so Julian going for the rook lift on the f-file. Rook f2. And yeah, queen d2 offering some more support over c3 so that there's no funny business here. Okay, so now I see the reason behind a6. This clears up the way for the knight to retreat. And this clears the way for the pawn to attack the knight. So this knight needs to find a home. Oh, okay. So the queen offering support over b6. So if the pawn hits the knight is not going backwards. No, the knight will dive further into the position, attacking the rook and the bishop. In fact, the knight is threatening to go here right now, having to move the rook, and then after you move this knight, they would have to take back with this knight, because if they take back with either the rook or the queen, or they could take with this knight because that defends this, but basically the knight moving will have a discovery attack on the knight. Right now the knight is only defended by the rook. After the rook moves, when the knight lands here, the knight will be hanging. So you could go knight here to attack the queen and the knight, but then there's knight takes. So you would have to decide, well, do I want to take this or do I want to take that? That's assuming the knight comes here. And Julian now doesn't have this knight takes bishop idea anymore, and the rook is freed up to move to other places after the knight lands on b6, which it does anyways. So now Julian can decide, do I want to go to d5? Okay, he pushes c4. What about pawn takes here, though? Because that hits the queen, no? That hits the queen. I feel like this was a mistake. I don't know. I don't see the idea. What's the plan here after takes? Do you like just take here and ignore the... Oh, the rook is defending the bishop. Okay, my bad. All right, so c4, supporting the knight on d5. Knight goes for the trade. Knight declines and goes to d5. White does not take. Instead, moves the queen out of the way. This knight is not looking too happy. This pawn is also not too happy. I like Julian's position so far. Can he convert it? He's only got 45 seconds, but his opponent has half that time. But Julian's thinking here how to move forward. So queen and bishop wind up threatening to win this knight. This knight has no good backwards moves, so he gives up a pawn to defend with the queen. I think he could have considered f5 maybe, right? I don't know. But Julian finally decides to take on e5. Tucks the king off this diagonal. Doesn't want this bishop, I guess, to come here. Oh, also making the way for the rook to the g file. So now black plays f5. Julian with 20 seconds. Taking on f5. Pawn takes back. Knight here, taking advantage of the pin on the queen. So the queen steps back, trading knights. Gonna get the other knight here. You got to take back with the knight, right? Takes with queen. Now there's a check in the position. There's also knight here with tempo on the queen. 11 seconds for both players. Knight here with the fork on the pieces. Queen takes here, threatening. No, that's defended by the rook. I keep forgetting that. Now bishop check. King over. Rook takes. Exchange sack. Oh, queen check. King has to go back. Rook takes. Queen takes. Okay, now Julian's down 2 pawns. Now the knight has joined the party. Julian looking to get the bishop here. There's going to be a check. A crazy check. Oh, there's a check here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Knight check. No, queen opposite the king. King moves over. Being Alex looking for the knockout blow. Is queen f1 going to be it? Okay, lined up for mate. He's saying, I'm going to escape. But is he? You have to go up. Queen check. King here. Bishop check. I'm losing my voice. Queen takes with check. Missed. King here now. Check. Check. Bishop check. Queen check. King here. Queen check. Here. And bishop check. Oh, you have to give it the queen. Oh, Julian. Oh, he's got a couple checks with the bishops. He rolls. Oh, he gets the queen back. Oh my goodness, that's a blunder. He's pushing the pawns now. The bishop's hit. What is going on? He's going to maintain this as long as possible. We got a 2-on-1 majority, but the bishop is covering this. Oh, this pawn's going to walk up Main Street. Yeah, that's a... Oh, just giving the check. King steps aside. You can push because you promote with check. Okay, bishop now covering this. That's a check. Do you take? King takes. Pawn push, promote. No, king moves. He wants to leave the bishop on. Knight here now, though. Okay, pushing this one. King attacking the bishop. You can tuck back here, but then you lose this pawn. Okay, now he's getting a second pawn into the fray. D6. I think Julian can win this. From down a queen. Knight here, you cannot promote because you get forked. So pushing this. The king can take that, though. No, not anymore. Because you got that. So king takes this pawn. King takes here. We win this. Ah, and he boxes out the king. Well done. That technique, though. Oh, my goodness. Down a queen. No problem. Julian gets the job done. Other Gabe gets a win. So he improves to 1.5. So the board 1 and 2 from UCLA answers right back. Josiah beat K-Web. And the other board, Joshua and Hiram, get a draw. So big draw from the board 3 from UCLA. Taking some points out of Berkeley's top board, Joshua. So don't go away, folks. We're tied at 4 apiece now. All knotted up, going into halftime. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so tied at 4. UCLA down a point after the first round. Tie it up after the second round. A big round from UCLA. Going into round 3. So this is Hiram against the bottom board. Timu from Berkeley. Hiram got a draw out of their top board, Joshua. Yeah, Julian had the king run of his life. I had never seen a king run so far. And then the king was actually crucial in the winning back of the queen. Black moved the queen, lined up on the same diagonal as the king, and that bishop pin to win was huge. So a lot of things were missed from both sides, but that is the beauty of the time pressure. You never know what's going to happen. That 2-second increment makes all the difference. Okay. So Hiron here, he's at 4 minutes. Timo still at 5 minutes. Hasn't lost any time. The bottom board will be UCLA. The top board, or the top players are Berkeley for all the boards that I follow. So this is Hiron, board 3 from UCLA. This is Timo from Berkeley, board 4. So this knight was looking at this square. Queen comes here to combat that. We can see the bishop takes, queen takes, wins a pawn. So the knight will be stopped here for now. Black at some point, okay, going here, trying to trade off this way. This is attacking the bishop, and you don't want to move the bishop, and you don't really want to allow the knight to take the bishop. So knight probably takes his best. We can see bishop here, and rook takes here, but then bishop here might win that rook. So, okay, just pawn here to defend. I would have liked to have seen this, but maybe black would sacrifice the exchange there. Not entirely sure. So Hiron playing it safe, but also boxing this bishop out. And there goes this pawn, which I forgot. This knight that took this knight was defending this. So now it is no more. And black has a 2-on-none majority in the center with the pawns. Going for this rook trade. This rook is forced off the board. So trading off here. And yeah, queen lined up with the knight. This bishop needs to reroute, but you don't want to drop this pawn either. So yeah, dropping e4 was a bit of a mistake, but it's only a pawn. We'll see how much it costs Hiron here. So trying to trade off this center knight, and hopefully going to be able to reroute this bishop. White needing to activate this piece. The c3 idea, blocking in this bishop. So trading off the knight here. Black can consider pushing in the center and is actually just lining up the queen and bishop to attack g2 and also perhaps prepare d5. And that's exactly what we see here. So now white has to decide, do I want to leave my rook on the open a file or do I want to centralize? And okay, queen here. We might see d4, but that would drop e5. So bishop defends e5. April, thank you for the follow. Queen and rook now lining up on a7. So rook on the 7th, very active rook. Both sides with the bishop pair, but I'm liking these bishops a little bit better than these. Lionarts, thank you as well. Okay, so where is the queen going to go? Or does black play d4 intermezzo? Rook takes, pawn takes. And then you have to save the rook. And then, okay, no. Because e2, you would have to bring the rook all the way back. But anyways, queen steps up. Does not want to have to deal with any d4 business. Attacking the bishop, but you don't want to hang the rook. So the rook's going to have to find a new home first. Bishop tucks back. This is a lining up of a fork. So this rook is going to move. And then that will open up the possibility of the queen taking the bishop. So I'm expecting the rook to go back. Let's see what Hiron decides on, because being on the 7th is like the epitome of rook strength. That is where you want it to be. But I don't think that the rook can stay here too long, as these bishops are taking up a lot of real estate along the 7th. Okay, so he goes for the exchange sacrifice. Queen takes with check. Luckily, the A file is completely blocked up by Hiron's pieces. So not a lot of entrance squares along the A file. But these pawns on light squares mean that the dark squares are now very weak. So this bishop will come to life along these dark squares. And this bishop is not a good piece. And as soon as you go back to reroute it, you're giving up a1. So hard to push c4 because these pawns are definitely clamping down on this pawn. So Hiron giving up the exchange, maybe forgot about the check because he's not moving his king. But you don't have a lot of options. 3 squares to choose from. Maybe considering, no, definitely ruling that out immediately. You'd lose the queen. So trying to move the king, I would go to h2. That's just me, and that's what Hiron does. Yeah, Hiron trying to get some pawns back for the exchange, but the queen's coming in all nice and well, okay, also hitting the bishop. Bishop moves, and now bishop's coming in. So this is a mate threat. In fact, I don't see how you stop it. That is a bit too dangerous. Maybe queen here. No, it just resigns. Okay. Yeah. So the exchange sacrifice was not good, unfortunately, for Hiron. But fortunately for Teemu and his team, Berkeley, let's look at Gabe versus Joshua. Gabe is board 2 from UCLA versus Joshua, board 1 from Berkeley. Look at the time advantage. 15 seconds, 3:48. Insane. Absolutely insane. If Gabe finds a way to even get a draw here, despite the position, I don't even know what's going on in the position. All I know is that Black has 5 seconds on their clock. Okay, g6. Maybe we'll see these pawns rolling in. Knight, opened up this. Here, Black pushing through here. This is a pawn sacrifice. Bishop b6 was a threat. Yeah, bishop b6. Oh. Was the king and queen lined up? Yeah. Oh yeah, he had rook here, defending that. Anyways. Oh, this is Kyle's game. I want to stick with Gabe because he only has 3 seconds. Okay, he no longer has 3 seconds. He's resigned the game. So Joshua now improves to 2.5. Let's look at Kyle Webster against Alex Bien. So Kyle Webster looking for his first points. UCLA, hold on, did I report Teemu getting a point? I don't think so. Teemu got his first point. So UCLA down 2 points now to Berkeley. 2 games left in this third round here. So let's see. These are some weak pawns, and the Knights know it. They're like sharks that smell blood in the water, these pawns. And so we have this knight outpost blocking these 2 pawns. No pawn could kick this knight out. And this knight swooping in to gobble up the remains. But knight here trying to go for some counterplay. Knight takes, though, defends. But then you have rook lift attacking the knight. Maybe we'll see g4. Also, there's knight takes here. What exactly is going on in this position? Kyle's actually up material and also up on the clock by a decent amount against the higher rated titled FIDE master Alex Bien. So if Kyle can get some points here, that'll be much needed for this UCLA team. So can he clinch it out? He grabs the pawn back. Knight here hits the rook. We can trade rooks. We can also give check. Knight here as well. Seems decent. Decent enough. Maybe, yeah, a4 going after that pawn. So now bishop takes. There's a check here if you want it. Rook here going after these pawns, but this pawn is defended, and this pawn was already hanging, but mostly just going after the activity, getting a rook to the second rank. These are some really strong knights, taking away a lot of squares. So, can Kyle find the activity? Trying to get to this king. Maybe a rook lift. I like this rook, just cutting the king off. And yeah, rook lift looking pretty good. So knight here, looking for this check as this pawn is pinned by the rook. I would still consider this. Okay, check first, another check. King all the way back. We have this check. What is going on here? Kyle now. Also kind of low on the clock. I would consider, like, getting a bishop here would be great because you open up the A file and clear the way for the rook, but you can't have two pieces on the same square. So Kyle instead compromises, gets the rook here. There's knight check here now. Ooh. King has to force to the A file somewhere. And how do you choose? You don't want to allow that. So don't want to go here, as that is a nasty oh, but the knight was blocking the rook. So going for this idea, I mean, I don't know. Okay, knight here allows the king up, but the bishop's defending everything. Check to force it back. Now he's in a bit of a time pickle. He can't move the king out of the way of the rook. So now he's at 7 seconds. He can go for repetition. Black saying no, let's keep playing for more. Going for this trade here. So the black takes it. That is a fork of the pieces. Okay, rook defending, but now knight's hitting the rook. The rook can come here. No, he's giving up the exchange. So pawn takes with check. You can give another check. No, he's going for the exchange here. Okay, pawn check. Yeah, you don't want to go king here. So rook check, king back, rook check, king up. There's a check here, but you go here. I mean, this is still looking good for white with all these pawns. A lot of pawns. So this pins the pawn, but I would play c5. No, rook over. This threatens mate. That's a big mate to give. So now, I mean, c5 just, I guess, here, but then you have b4. No, he's just getting out of the way of the pawn. He just wants to promote. Now, both sides under 5 seconds on the clock. Rook here. Okay, giving up the rook. So now he's up a piece. That forks these two pawns. Low time on the clock. Keep this one. Rook takes here, defends that. Okay. Oh, save the rook. Rook here. So both sides pushing their passed pawns. White's a little bit faster. Rook takes here. Pawn push. Yeah, you're making a queen. Blocking. But, okay. Hold up. Why don't you go? Okay, he's just saying you're going to run out of checks, and I'm going to make a new queen. So now this pawn's here. The bishop, though, beautifully placed on the long diagonal. Queen check. Going to find a mate. Yeah, there it is. Let's go. K. Webb getting his first dub. Taking down FIDE Master from Berkeley. So brings it back within 1. Back to Julian versus Josiah. Both streamers. Looks like a potential draw here. Going for mate. A check. Another check. Bunch of checks. Can one side cash out? Black going for the queen. Check. Check. You can keep repeating this. I think it's just a draw. Will the players agree? Can we push with check? No. Okay, check. The king is escaping. Can we push now? Rook here behind the passed pawn. There's a check. Ooh, king here now. Hold up. I mean, you could take this. You lose this. No, there's a check. I mean, here now. Now this pawn's a gunner. I'm surprised we didn't see that check. Okay, rook versus rook. This is definitely a draw. So assuming this ends in a draw, and they agreed to it, UCLA is only down by a point. So 5.5 to 6.5 going into the final round. So Berkeley only needs 2 out of 4 to win. UCLA is going to need 3 out of 4 to tie. No, 3 out of 4 to win. 2.5 out of 4 to tie. So here we go. Start of the 4th round. These are the board threes. Both players with half a point so far. Alex being from Cal, as you can see with the profile picture. Gotta love the school pride. Hiron, candidate master from Canada. Perhaps a Canada master. I don't know. I only assume the C stands for candidate, but I don't have official word if that's true or not. Okay, Hiron, going after this pawn. Can we take the pawn? No, because bishop takes, king takes, queen check with the fork. So that is not a free pawn. Don't let it fool you. Don't let it tempt you. It does mean candidate master. I was trying to make a joke. You live for the commentary? Thank you, Caleb. And thank you, Desi boy. Okay. All right, so Hiron now with 4 minutes, 15 seconds. No time pressure at all at this point. Potential pawn sacrifice? No. The bishop will be pinned to the queen after we take. So white cannot take this unless they want to lose their bishop, and it looks like they don't. So bishop now defending this pawn, eventually going to try to trade off here. And now the knight takes the pawn. So Hiron up a pawn. He sees that tactics right there. F4, E5. Not going to lose a piece. So now he takes. Queen and rook, though. Getting some activity here. Going after the backwards D6 pawn. This is Drew. Let's go. We got a bunch of UCLA people in the chat. April May, the only Bear fan I've seen in the chat. So I think the chat is slightly favored for UCLA, but maybe there are a lot of Berkeley people lurking. Maybe we should call them Lurkley. Just kidding. All right. I should stick to the chess commentary, although it's probably not much better than my jokes. They're both bad. We've got bad chess commentary, bad jokes, but good vibes all around. What is a Bruin, by the way? So a Bruin is a brown bear. So UC Berkeley, their mascot is just the Golden Bears. UCLA is the Bruins. Some people say it's a baby bear. And honestly, like, I'm okay with that. It's like same thing, right? He blundered D6. Wait, D6. Oh, I mean, yeah, D6 has been hanging. I didn't see a way that black was going to defend this properly. So white didn't take, and now, I mean, okay, you could trade off D6, right? But then at the end, you have bishop takes here. So this is a weak pawn, right? It's isolated, and that's a healthy pawn. So white didn't really want to trade here, I don't think. A bad pawn for a good pawn. This is what connects this pawn chain eventually. But I don't know. Maybe white could have gotten away with it. So now this bishop is up here, no longer fianchettoed. He has come out of his home. And white might be able to try to capitalize on that, flush this rook out, and then maybe go after this point here that is now somewhat weaker. So, I mean, white has some good chances here with counterplay. Black up a pawn, but Yeah, an awkward pawn structure on the queen side, and white is just going to expand here. So this gets the pawn out of the way of the bishop, but also threatens to expand, kicking this bishop out. This is a beautiful outpost here. And white with this threat of b5, black might consider bringing the queen or the pawn up to tuck the bishop to keep it on this diagonal. That, or you're going to have to go here and you'll find a new home, but not really pointing at the king side much anymore. UC Berkeley's mascot is the stuff of nightmares. Oski's pretty dope. I don't know. Maybe he's weird to you, but I know the Berkeley fans love him. Yeah, Kevin and April May now. I think well, yeah, maybe it takes a Berkeley fan to okay, can we take here? Or can we go here? Wow, Hiron pulling the trigger. Bishop takes g3 immediately. White not even taking back, just contemplating life right now. Like, do I even take this bishop or did I just mess up? Well, they definitely know they messed up. Alex Bean, FIDE master, only a draw so far out of the previous 3 games. Not his best showing so far this season. But that being said, like, is it game over if you take? Queen takes king here. I don't know. Queen here, king here, queen check. You can block with 2 different pieces. I don't know, guys. Like, okay, rook is gonna be super active on the e-file. I don't know. Like, okay, I don't see mate. All I know is that it doesn't look pretty. It looks bad, and the FIDE master agrees with me. So you can take that with check, but then bishop takes with counterpunch. So if you take here, then rook takes, and the queen's still defending here. Oh, you had queen mate here. Yeah, you guys are right. Okay, so queen takes. Oh, rook here. Oh, the pawn's defending this. Okay, cool. So we got the exchange. Ooh, Julian lost to Joshua. So I almost just gave the point to Julian. I feel like I've done that before. So that is unfortunate. Julian goes down to the International Master board 1. So Joshua, strong showing, 3.5 out of 4. Didn't lose a single game. We just look at this position. Yeah, that is pretty brutal. I mean, the wrong color bishop has fianchettoed for black's king. This is an imposter here. Not a welcome sight. So Julian throws in the towel there. So now Berkeley. Wait, did I tie that up right? How is it? How is it only 6.5 to 5.5? Weren't they already up? Hold up. Oh, it did not tally this properly. Wait, how did the formula mess up? That's 4, 6. They should be at 7. I guess I'll have to do this manually. Oh, hold up. Did I like... What is going on? Okay, there we go. All right. Berkeley needs 1 point or 2 draws out of the 3 games. UCLA needs to win all 3 remaining games to win this match. Luckily, Hiron's looking pretty decent here. Strong bishop, though, for white. Let's look at some of the other boards. How's Kyle Webster doing? So, even material, both sides with a bishop pair and a rook. Black does have connect 4, so this is looking good. Bishop tucks back along this diagonal, threatening to win a pawn. White can come down with tempo. Well, not tempo, but a pen. Black can now give check if they so choose. Where to go, though? Where to go? I'm thinking, like, you want to activate this bishop, maybe. Well, you don't want to go here because you cut off the rook's defense. But yeah, this position's looking pretty equal. Let's look at Gabe versus Josiah. How's our boy Gabe doing? Gabe, deep past pawn a6, up 3 pawns of material. Gabe could win this. Even clocks. Yeah, king now defending, getting out of the pen, but still somewhat pinned. This is now pressured. You can go rook here maybe if you want. That could be a draw. Let's look at this. So Hiron, if Hiron and Gabe both win and Kyle Webb draws Timu, we could see overtime. Just throwing that out there. Hiron with 20 seconds to 5 seconds. Finds a check. Here's another check. Hello. Hi. King here. Pawn check. That looks like a queen to me. I don't know. What do you guys think? You could play a little ring around the rosy. Imagine that. You do repetition twice here. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Hiron, just play. Come on. You see it, buddy. No, he disconnected. Oh, no. Hiron with the internet gambit. Oh, no. That is not what you want to see. Oh, that's brutal. It's mate in 6. Oh, that hurts. Oh, that hurts. Oh, there goes the match. Wait, hold on. It's not over yet. Wait, is it? I don't know. But that is not what you wanted. That is not what you wanted. Berkeley now at 8. I actually don't know. The math is wrong somewhere. I messed up somewhere. But I think I don't know what happens if we win these next 2 games. I missed a half point somewhere. I'm sorry, guys. The score is a little wacky. But yeah, like what is up with this score here? That should not be at 5.5. That should be at 6, right? No, that's just at 5. No, that doesn't make sense either. I missed something, guys. But we'll have to redo the tally. But okay, other Gabe has won. Yeah, this thing is not adding up the sum like it should be. Okay. Timu versus Webb. He's only got 3 seconds. 2 seconds. I mean, I don't even know what's going on in this position. Where are the pawns? The pawns are going this way. Kyle Webb is black. He's winning this pawn. I mean, black is looking good here. But he's got no time. Okay, bishop check, bishop check. Bishop discovery wins the rook. Let's go. Okay, Kyle Webb, 2 for 4. What is the score total, actually? I messed up. Somebody tell me. Julian, you have 2.5? And Josiah has 2.5. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. I think Berkeley won that 8.5 to 7.5. If Hiron had his mate on the board, would that would have flipped the score, right? Like UCLA would have won round 4 3-1 to clinch 8.5 to 7.5. Holy smokes. I mean, queen here, king here, and just pawn here, right? Queen takes, pawn takes, king takes. Any title player wins this with black pieces. The the connection was brutal. That's, I mean, if he loses connection in a losing position, all right, that's fair. But with mate on the board and a handful of moves, it's brutal. That's all I have to say. But major props to this UCLA team. Definitely the major underdogs. With Berkeley's fourth board higher rated than UCLA's top board. So all credit to these players for competing. Super close. And I think these players might see each other again in the playoffs. Perhaps. Who knows? We shall see. But yeah, this is UCLA's first loss with the unfortunate connection issue. But yeah, awesome Berkeley team. All four boards titled, at least FIDE Master. So really strong team. They're rated second overall in the standings, only behind Mizzou. But yeah, you can't count UCLA out. They're in it to win it still. So yeah, expect more great things from them.